We're learning about a new exhibition at the Beverly Arts Center that is highlighting how HIV disproportionately affects Black women. And here joining us now to kick things off here at 11 a.m., Anna Deshawn, you launched this series. First of all, welcome and happy holidays to you. Thank you so much for being here in studio.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, good to be here.
What inspired, it's called Shine a Light on It. What inspired you to launch this series?
Well, this series is actually a sequel.
Okay.
I did our first Cube original podcast series called Black HIV in the South, How Did We Get Here, a few years ago. And when I learned just how pervasive HIV still is in the South, and then I went to conferences and started talking to advocates and learned that Black women actually account for 50% of new diagnoses of HIV. And I didn't know that. I said I have to use my gifts to amplify this information.
Oh, wow.
Because honestly, Anna, you saying that comes as a shock even to me, because you kind of think it's a thing of the past, right? It's not as prevalent anymore. It's not as talked about. So you're really seeing it as a prevalent situation, and you're taking the steps to actually go out there and talk about it.
Absolutely. It's a surprise to everybody who hears that stat. It's still a surprise to me because I'm trying to make it make sense.
50% of new diagnoses are Black women.
Are Black women. And 40 years later, right, from the 80s of HIV/AIDS, right, the epidemic that killed a generation, right, of LGBTQ folks and affected my communities in particular. And I'm looking at science, I'm looking at the advancements of science and technology, and yet we still have this pervasive problem as it pertains to Black women. I think there has been lack of information, right? We don't have celebrities saying they're living with HIV like we used to when I was growing up. It's not in the music like it used to be. People have really taken it for granted that it's sort of gone away. But the reality is it hasn't. And so when I learned the information, I wanted to do what all of us good journalists want to do, which is tell other people so that they can begin to protect themselves and learn about how they can do that.
I'll never forget, it was my birthday, November 7th, 1991, when Magic Johnson made that announcement. Remember how big of a deal that was?
Absolutely.
So that would have been, gosh, I was, I think, in junior high at that point. But you're right. It's maybe, I mean, to Gabby's point, is it because it is now treatable and you can live with HIV that it has fallen off people's radar?
I think it's that, but I also think it's just lack of information as it pertains to Black women in particular, right? And when we go to the doctor, no one's asking us to take an HIV test, right? No one's telling us about PrEP. No one's telling us about PEP. No one is sharing the U=U campaigns, right? We know health funding has been cut, but even when there was funding, the people who get the funding, they aren't targeting Black women. They're targeting men who have sex with men, which is completely valid. And there is still this statistic that needs to be addressed, and there's something we can do about it. And so that's why Shine a Light on It exists.
Let's hear about this exhibit. Kind of what are
media is on display?
Yeah, so we're doing photography and we're doing audio-video storytelling. It's something I wanted to do for a very long time, and the Beverly Arts Center is opening their doors to us on the South Side today to put this exhibit on display. So I have 3 Black women who are living with HIV, but as they say, HIV doesn't have them, right? And so we had a photo shoot with them. They got dressed up, they looking fly, okay? And then I interviewed all of them, and we went on location as well to capture their stories. I want this to be more about their humanity and less about their diagnosis, because I do think folks still believe that you look a certain type of way if you have HIV, that you live a certain type of way if you have HIV. But all of these Black women are cisgender, heterosexual women, and they were all in heterosexual relationships when they received their diagnosis. And so those are the Black women that raised me. Those are the Black women I hang out with. Those are the women who I want them to know that PrEP exists for them too.
You know, that's so important, because I was just going to ask you to try to give a little bit of their story without giving away too much, because of course we want people to go to the exhibit. I mean, so when you're telling people about this, are they surprised? Like, they think that they're going to fit one piece of the puzzle and it's totally different than what they had in their mind, stereotype?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you say HIV, Black women are not who you think about. It's not who are on the ad campaigns. It's not what you're seeing on social media. It's not what you see on the commercials, right? It's not being seen. And so this is just an opportunity for me to put Black women at the forefront and say, Black women, hello, we must protect ourselves. There's actually a conference called the Saving Ourselves Symposium that I attended for a few years down in Atlanta, and I just learned so much from them. And I think this is a case where we do have to save ourselves. We have to tell the message ourselves, and so that's the work.
So you've done these interviews, you have a photography piece to this. What made you want to display this exhibit in this particular way? Because
I think we have an idea of the face of this thing, but actually you don't. You have no idea who's living with HIV today. And honestly, it's the same as anybody living with any other STI today. And so I wanted to do photography, and every photo is accompanied by an audio clip from their interviews. So if you're coming to the exhibit, bring your headphones, okay? We got some great clips for folks to listen to, and we're gonna have silent headphones as well for folks to listen. And I just want to humanize HIV, destigmatize this thing. It's something we should be able to talk about in 2025 and understand that you can live a long and happy life. It is not the death sentence that it once was, right? And we need to know that it's impacting Black women at such a high rate.
Especially here, so close to home, too.
Exactly.
Make sure it's part of the conversation.
Absolutely.
So you said you're giving them silent headphones.
Yes.
How long should people, what kind of time block should people have when they go to the Beverly Arts Center? Is it a couple hours? Is it the afternoon? Is it just maybe an hour of their time?
Yeah, so we're going to be there for a couple of hours tonight because it's a launch and we're going to have a good time, okay? The photographer is going to be there taking pictures of us, and we're going to have Taylor's Tacos in the buildings.
Wow, okay.
You know, we love Taylor's Tacos, and so we're going to enjoy that. And we're going to have a little program where all the women get to share a little bit about their story, and we get to listen to an excerpt as a group. So come for a couple of hours, but I am excited that the Beverly Arts Center is going to have the exhibit for display for a couple of weeks. So if you can't make it today, please go and visit the exhibit. And then in 2026, we plan on traveling it around the city.
Wow.
Who knows, maybe somebody will take us somewhere else. But I think that we can expand upon this. I think this is just the beginning. I think there's a lot of people who need this message, and so hopefully this is just the start.
Yeah. Sometimes when we journalists go into a story, it doesn't quite match up with our expectations, and we learn things that we didn't expect to learn. Can you think of anything that you learned talking to these three women and building this that really either surprised you or really stuck with you that you didn't know before?
Each of them in our interviews, they mentioned how this diagnosis has given them purpose. And I don't know if I would have the same perspective about this diagnosis, right? But they felt that after they received the diagnosis, they felt like they knew what they needed to do with their life. And so each of them in their own ways are advocating for others, helping others, and they found that what they thought was going to take them out, right, has actually given them new life. And one part about this whole process that I really loved is that we did in-studio interviews like this, but we also went to their favorite places around the city to talk with them in the place that they're more comfortable without all the lights and the mics. And that is how we open up every episode. And it is so beautiful to see them in their space, sharing who they are and not HIV.
Right.
Yeah. You know, it seems like you're getting a little emotional about it.
It is, because HIV is one of those diseases that you do feel like your life is going to end when you receive the news. And so many of them have gone through so much. Mistreatment in the healthcare system, lack of resources. One sister went from Florida to Wisconsin to Illinois. And it wasn't until she got here that she found services with AIDS Foundation of Chicago, right? Found the support groups that she needed, peers that understood what she was going through. When we talk about living with HIV, we're also talking about disclosure. Even in a world where U equals U, where untransmittable equals undetectable equals untransmittable, meaning my viral load is so low, I can't give it to you even if I try, right? But so many people don't know you exists. So there's just so much misinformation, so much stigma that they have to deal with every single day just because of the lack of information.
What are you hoping will change? What needs to change? You know, you've been very, very close to this issue, obviously, to have come up with this wonderful exhibit, but what are you hoping changes as a result? You mentioned the issue of like just knowledge, prep, that kind of thing. Like, what needs to change here so this statistic can be addressed?
Yeah, I'm hoping somebody comes to this exhibit and then tells 3-4 of their friends. Like, this is something that needs to happen word of mouth in our communities, right? I'm hoping that the next time they go to the doctor, they ask their doctor about PrEP. They ask them about PrEP, right? These are not words or acronyms that are familiar to women, and definitely not familiar to Black women. So I'm hoping that they see these photos, somebody sees this story, and decides to tell somebody else about it.
You mentioned that you had you started this journey with a podcast, right?
Yes.
Are you still continuing on with that podcast, or can people still listen to it if they want to listen to your past episodes?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I own 2 media companies here in the city. I mean, this is what I do, and so E3 Radio is our radio station where we're playing queer music all day long, and I host our award-winning Queer News podcast. And The Cube is our podcast company where we produce content telling Black and brown stories, intersections of being LGBTQ. And so Black HIV in the South, How Did We Get Here, is available everywhere you get your podcasts. So please go check that out and check out all our stuff. It's good.
Yeah, wow. Well, you know what, we're gonna have to do like a whole story about you and all of your missions.
Oh,
you're very
exactly.
interesting, yeah.
Anna, thank you so much. Once more before we go, tell us what, if folks want to check it out in person tonight, what they need to know, and if they can't make it tonight, your message once again.
Absolutely. Meet me, or beat me to the Beverly Arts Center tonight at 6 o'clock. We're going to have a wonderful time. Bring a couple of friends, and if you can't make it tonight to the Beverly Arts Center, go visit for the next couple of weeks. The exhibit will be up for you to enjoy.
Okay, so where can folks find you online if they want to follow along with your storytelling?
It's so easy. At Anna Deshawn across all your favorite social media platforms. We have a good time there.
Perfect.
Anna, thank you so much.
Thank you.